Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for allowing me to participate in the discussions on a budget speech being presented by our Honourable Chief Minister. First of all, as a colleague in the MDA government, I would like to express my deep appreciation for the efforts being put in by our Honourable CM and his cabinet colleagues in moving the government machinery towards giving the best service to the people of our state. We know that our state is largely dependent on transfers from the centre in meeting both the revenue expenditures and making capital investments. Of course, seeing the current situation, this is going to be a critical issue, especially in the present financial year, when the central government's resources have also been negatively impacted by the COVID-19. In this context, I would like to appreciate the aim of the government to tap the local resources also to the extent possible so as to improve our tax and non-tax revenues. I would first like to touch on the sector of human development and specifically the health and education sector. Health sector has always been and should always be of prime importance to any government, and especially in our present battle against COVID-19. We could see that our government has been making huge investments in this particular sector. At this point of time, I would also like to take the opportunity to thank all our frontliners in our battle against COVID-19. We could also see in the budget speech that the government is proposing infrastructure development in rural areas, including construction of PHCs, CHCs, and sub-centers. I personally have undertaken inspections to various PHCs under my constituency due to COVID-19, and have found that most isolation wards available in all PHCs do not meet the requirements as prescribed by the health department in tackling COVID-19. Therefore, let this be a lesson for our government or any government in future, so that for any construction to be undertaken regarding any PHC, CHC, or sub-center in future, let there be minimum norms or a kind of model for all such infrastructures, so that it will be able to cater to the requirements, especially when dealing with major issues which we have faced from time to time. Coming to the education, of course, as you all know, education is a very important sector since it deals with the future of our students, the future of the next generation. I would like to come a bit to our Sora Civil Subdivision. Under this civil subdivision, we have the Sora Government College, which has really benefited the students from Sora and its adjoining areas. However, at present, this college caters only to students from art stream. Since only art stream exists since the time the college was provincialized and taken over by the government in the year 2009. I therefore would like to urge the government very strongly to take urgent steps for opening even the science and commerce streams in order to help the students from this area. Getting students in the science and commerce streams won't be difficult since we have good feeder schools, the Ramakrishna Mission Higher Secondary School, and even the St. John Boys Higher Secondary School for both the science and the commerce streams. Therefore, it would be of great help to the students if the government can open these two streams soon. And I would like to urge the government, if it can perform this task in the near future. This would also be of great opportunity for economically disadvantaged and low-income families from this area who can send their children who are otherwise very able and meritorious, but are unable to proceed with their studies just because of financial reasons. Coming to the infrastructure sector, we all know that CNRD blocks are the main offices in the rural areas. The irony is that this office is responsible for disbursement of funds meant for all the developmental works in rural areas, but the fact is that it is not provided with the funds for its own maintenance. I do agree with my colleague from Nongpo. We have CNRD blocks lacking even in the basic necessities. For example, a block which caters to a large portion of my constituency, the Laikro Kharalshnong block, doesn't even have proper electrification. Some of the rooms have leaking roofs, broken windows, and window panes, and so on and so forth. Therefore, I would like to urge the government to allocate some funds for maintenance and infrastructure in the CNRD blocks so that they can function effectively. Coming to the PWD roads sector, of course, PWD roads is one of the important sectors as it deals with the connectivity which ultimately leads to the overall development of our state. I would also like to appreciate the efforts being put in by our Honorable Deputy CM in charge roads, who has really worked hard, and his team of officers to get sanction for many road projects in our state from various central schemes. I would also like to urge the government to kindly look into the upgradation and improvement of the Omtingal-Sora road, which is one of the most important state highway in our state. According to the records, the last improvement for this particular road was done in the year 2012 under the SPA, or the Special Plan Assistance. And as we all know, this particular road is very important and is considered perhaps the most important tourist destination for the people visiting our state. I'm also very happy that the government has prioritized the Omtingal-Sora Laitara Molong Ishamati Bolaginch Road, covering a length of 76.50 kilometers in the list of state highways and major district roads to be declared as national highways. Just recently, I, along with my colleague from Shella constituency, have met Honorable CM with regard to this matter and would like to urge the government to kindly pursue this matter with the central government continuously so that it materializes in the near future. Coming to the tourism sector, yes, I represent a constituency which is known for captivating tourists from all over the world. Tourism is a perfect example of a smokeless industry, and most people have turned to the tourism industry just as a means of livelihood after the coal ban in 2014. The tourist inflow into our state has witnessed a huge increase over the past few years. According to reports, it has doubled between the year 2006 with 4.04 lakhs arrivals and the year 2016 with 8.39 lakh arrivals. I am sure that the number in the year 2019 would have been much, much higher. This sector is one of the sectors badly affected by the present lockdown in our battle against COVID-19. I would like to appreciate the government's initiative under the leadership of our Honorable CM as it has constituted an executive committee of the Chief Minister's Economic Task Force post-COVID-19 with an aim towards creating guidelines and making recommendations for the various sectors, including this particular sector, in order to suggest a plan of action to revive the economy of our state post-COVID-19. Given the massive impact which COVID-19 has had on the state's economy and also on the livelihoods of the large majority of people in the state, it is my earnest request that a task force be mandated to take up its task on a footing so that its recommendations may be submitted and also implemented at the earliest. Insofar as tourism is concerned, I would just like to suggest that any plan that is to be proposed by the government should strive on maximizing revenue towards local individuals and local enterprises. Of course, sustainability of popular tourist spots and activities also needs to be properly planned and implemented. With regard to entrepreneurship, I would also like to appreciate the various initiatives being taken by the government in promoting entrepreneurship in our state, Meghalaya. I would once again express my deep gratitude and appreciation to our Honorable CM for having presented the budget 2020-21. With these few submissions, I resume my seat, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.